Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV's Primetime News. My name is Iribami Salako. We begin with headlines. President Bola Tinubu arrives in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, for the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week ADSW. Plus, on the news, former President Olusegun Obasanjo holds a memorial service in honor of his late friend and former President of USA, Jimmy Carter. From the international scene, at least 16 people die as wildfire rage in Los Angeles, and there are fears that the numbers will rise. Details of these and more coming your way soon. To stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now, details of the news. President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Abu Dhabi, the United Arab Emirates, for the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week ADSW. Tinubu's trip to the Middle East is at the invitation of the President of the United Arab Emirates, Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. The special assistant to the President on social media, Dada Olusegun, announced Tinubu's arrival on a post on his X page. He accompanied the post with a short video showing Tinubu's arrival in the UAE. The summit themed "The Nexus of Next, Supercharging Sustainable Process" is scheduled to run from 12 to 18 January in Abu Dhabi. The event will bring together global leaders to accelerate sustainable development and advance socioeconomic progress. In Abu Dhabi, the President is expected to deliver a speech highlighting his administration's key reforms, particularly in energy efficiency, transportation, public health, and economic development. During the visit, Tinubu and his delegation are expected to hold discussions with UAE leadership to strengthen bilateral relations and explore opportunities for economic and diplomatic partnership. The Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has stressed that the unity and progress of Nigeria requires the active participation of all citizens. Speaking at the interdenominational church service for the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day held at the National Christian Center, Abuja, the Senate President maintained that the work of nation building is not for the government alone, but a joint effort of all Nigerians. Senator Akpabio, who was represented at the event by Deputy Speaker of House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, emphasized the need for Nigerians to rise above divisions and embrace a shared vision for Nigeria's greatness. The Senate President posited that Nigeria is a tapestry woven with over 500 languages, diverse traditions, and various faiths, yet our strength lies in the unity of the differences and diversity. He also posited that the sacrifices of fallen soldiers were not just for the present, but an inspiration to the generations after them, saying they are the foundation upon which the nation building must be premised on. Akpabio urged Nigerians to approach the year 2025 with renewed hope and determination towards creating a nation where peace reigns, prosperity abounds, and unity prevails. Now to other stories, amid the ongoing controversy surrounding the proposed tax reform bills by the current administration, the federal government and 21 out of the 36 states in the federation have projected a combined value-added tax revenue of 2.5 trillion naira for 2025 in their respective budget estimates. The projection excludes additional funds that may occur from the implementation of the contentious tax reform bills. VAT, a consumption tax on goods and services, is levied at each stage of the supply chain where value is added. VAT revenue collected under the current administration increased by 549 billion naira within 6 months. This figure was derived from financial reports released by the Federation Account Allocation Committee between October 2023 and March 2024. An analysis of the 2025 budget documents from the federal government and 21 states revealed the combined VAT revenue projection of about 2.53 trillion naira, representing a significant increase of 1 trillion naira, about 65.8%, compared to the 1.527 trillion naira projected in 2024. The 21 states include Kebbi, Kaduna, Ekiti, Oyo, Osun, Ogun, Enugu, Borno, Ondo, Kano, Katsina, Ebonyi, Gombe, Anambra, Abia, Niger, Jigawa, Bauchi, Akwa Ibom, and Adamawa, the Delta. Budget documents for the remaining 14 states in the Federal Capital Territory were unavailable. In 2024, the federal government's share of VAT revenue was 512.8 billion naira, but it is projected to rise to 972 billion naira in 2025. Similarly, Kebbi State, which received 41 billion naira from VAT in 2024, anticipates 87.3 billion naira this year. Kaduna State VAT revenue is projected at 57.8 billion naira, up from the 48.2 billion naira in its 2024 budget. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has filed a lawsuit against President Bola Tinubu's administration and Nigeria's 36 state governors at the ECOWAS Community Court of Justice in Abuja. The suit challenges the alleged misuse of Cybercrimes Amendment Act 2024 to suppress freedom of expression and violate human rights, particularly those of activists, journalists, bloggers, and social media users. In a statement issued on 12 January 2025, SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, explained that the provisions of the amended Act remains vague, arbitrary, and repressive, enabling authorities to criminalize legitimate expression and restrict media freedom. The ECOWAS Court ruled on March 25, 2022 that Section 24 of the original Cybercrimes Act 2015 was arbitrary, vague, and repressive. The court ordered Nigeria to repeal the provisions to comply with its human rights obligations under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights and the International Covenant on Social and Political Rights. The Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has denied report on the collapse of the national grid on Saturday. The company stated that nothing was wrong with the nation's grid, contrary to widely published misinformation in the media. The General Manager, Public Affairs of the company, Ndidi Mba, in a statement made available to our correspondent, said earlier on Saturday at about 1:41 p.m., the Oshogbo line tripped, followed by the tripping of the Benin-Omotosho line. The statement said this consequently affected bulk supply to only Lagos. Total generation on the grid was 4,335.63 megawatt. It disclosed that after the trippings, generation was 2,573.23 megawatt, showing clearly that the grid had no issue as reported in the media. The company said that the transmission line tripping affected Idebe, Olorunshogun, Omotosho, Gerigu, and Paras, but these have all been restored except for the Benin-Omotosho 330 kV line, whose restoration is ongoing. It assured that TCN will continue to work hard to put in place a robust transmission grid in spite of prevalent challenges, noting that it has become imperative for Nigerians to understand the negative impact of deliberately misinforming the public and the value of disseminating true and verifiable facts. You're still on to the news on Galaxy TV. Coming up next. Inspector General of Police issues a directive to all police command and formation nationwide for implementation of a New Year strategic action plan. Details of these and more coming your way after the break. Please stay with us. are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with thoughts on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with thoughts on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments, as you can easily scan our IG QR code. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo on Sunday held a memorial service in honor of his late friend and former President of the United States of America, USA, Jimmy Carter. Paying glowing tributes to the American leader will be described as a titan and man of peace. Carter, the 39th President of the United States, died at 100 on December 29, 2024 at his home in Plains, Georgia, at the Chapel of Christ, the Glorious King, Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Abeokuta, Ogun State, where the service was held. Obasanjo recalled how Carter struck out his neck to save his life while seeking his release from prison under the late head of state, General Sani Abacha. He also said Carter paid a visit to Abacha solely to plead for his release.
A militaristic man, Sani Abacha, who wanted to rule Nigeria perpetually till the end of his life. President Carter was one of my foreign friends who stuck their necks out to save my life and to seek my release from prison. On President Carter's visit to Nigeria, he got Abacha to agree to take me from detention to house arrest on my farm, but that did not last for too long.
Now to security. Professionalism and competence of officers and men of the 6th Division Nigerian Army has been one of the major reasons in the fight against crude oil theft and other forms of criminality in the Niger Delta region. These were the words of the General Officer commanding 6th Division Nigerian Army, Major General Jamal Abdulsalam, while speaking at the Joint West African Social Activities WASA held at the 3 Battalion Nigerian Army, Effiong Delta State. Addressing officers and men as well as invited guests from all walks of life, the GOC said the reduction in oil theft and relative peace in the Niger Delta is as a result of the professionalism of officers and men. On this part, the commander, 63 Brigade Nigerian Army, Brigadier General Vitus Onachiko, stressed on the history of WASA celebration.
The dogged professionalism and military competencies of our troops have proven to be veritable recipes for operational successes in the field. The series of gains recorded by the division against illegal oil bunkers and economic saboteurs in our area of responsibility underpins this assertion. This is evident in the current improved Nigeria's daily oil production and relative peace in the Niger Delta.
The WASA is a demonstration of our rich cultural heritage. If you see how we are already coming out today, it's revealing the flow of our strength in diversity. It is just a platform for officers, soldiers, families and guests to come together and interact socially at the end of an eventful year. It is aimed at rounding up the year's activity. So it ought to have been in December, but due to other engagements, we are having it in this second week of January.
The Nigerian Army School of Electrical and Mechanical Engineering has marked its annual West African Social Activities WASA 2024 with military and colorful cultural display. The event aimed at sustaining unity in the barracks and promoting cultural awareness brought together both serving and retired officers of the Nigerian Army with the sole aim of togetherness. The commandant of the institution, Major General Oladele Arugundade, stressed on the achievement of the Army, School and the Wase exercise. The special guest and the chairman organizing committee commended the Chief of Army Staff for repositioning the Nigerian Army.
Through the year. And as part of strengthening our military-civil relationship, in the course of the year 2024, we organized.
I wish to commend the Chief of Army Staff for his laudable effort at restructuring Nigerian Army in critical areas such as training, barrack innovations, and general personnel welfare. This effort has repositioned the Nigerian Army in line with the federal government's transformation agenda. Ensure that this government will continue to support your efforts in order to successfully deal with contemporary challenges.
Also, we stop at that in appreciating the Chief of Army Staff in providing fund for this WASA event. Also to our special guest of honor, we want to thank you for taking time to attend this beautiful occasion with us. We say God bless you.
Now, to the story teased earlier. In a proactive effort to enhance public safety and boost operational efficiency, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Adeolu Egbetokun, has issued a directive to all police commands and formations nationwide for the implementation of a new year strategic action plan. This plan aims to reduce crime and improve effectiveness of law enforcement across the country. In a statement released by the Force Public Relations Officer, ACP Olumuyiwa Adejobi, Egbetokun emphasized the critical role of strategic planning and statistical analysis in combating crime, urging officers to adopt a proactive approach rather than a reactive one. This directive, the statement added, comes at a pivotal time as recent evaluations highlights the need for heightened vigilance, attitudinal change, improved human relations, and proactive law enforcement measures in communities nationwide. The action plan outlines several key initiatives to strengthen the police force, foster community relations, and significantly reduce crime during the first quarter of 2025. The initiatives include increased intelligence-led policing, enhanced training and capacity building, public awareness campaign, and a renewed commitment to public safety. To ensure the effective implementation of this directive, the IGP is scheduled to hold a virtual meeting with strategic commanders of the police on Monday, January 13, 2025. And still on security, the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 7 Headquarters, Abuja, AIG Bennett Thigwe, has emphasized the need for officers to rededicate themselves to the ethics and norms of the Nigerian police force. Thigwe gave the admonition in Abuja while decorating newly promoted officers of the command, including the Area Commander, Katangara, Niger State Police Command, Makalisu Umar, the Public Relations Officer of the Command, MB Abdul Kadri, and 21 others with their new ranks. Their elevation followed the recent approval of the recommendations of the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Egbetokun, for the promotion of senior officers by the Police Service Commission. He pressed the Inspector General of Police move on personal welfare and for finding the officers worthy to be recommended for promotion. He added that the large-scale promotion is part of the IGP's ongoing effort to enhance the efficiency and morale of the Nigeria police force. Responding on behalf of the decorated officers, the CP Mukalisu B. Umar expressed gratitude to God for sparing the lives to witness the promotion as well as the decoration. He appreciated the Inspector General of Police for finding them worthy of promotion, with the assurance that the standard will always be maintained when it comes to carrying out tasks given. The Ondo State Police Command has paraded suspected cultists involved in the killing that left 5 people dead in the ancient town of Owo, or local government area of the state. The Commissioner of Police, CP Olatokunbo Afolabi, who briefed newsmen, stated that the suspects took part in court clashes that led 5 people dead, were directly involved in the mayhem in the town. Afolabi said the duo of Bero Adiola, male aged 30 years, and Olabode Ojo, male aged 30 years, aka Popo, who claimed his brother's wife and child were killed in the melee, were arrested in the hideout in Akure. They both confessed to being cultists belonging to the Aye group and claimed it was the Aye and Eye groups that were fighting, then claimed that they left Owo because of the fight, because they did not want to be part of it. The Commissioner of Police also paraded Wasiu Ibrahim, who participated in mob action that led to the death of one Tijani in an Android phone.
The people involved in the dastardly act that took place in Owo relocated from Owo and moved to another location here in Akure. Through technical support, we were able to identify the locations of the suspects. They stormed the location, and in the course of the operation, 6 suspects were apprehended.
They killed my brothers, my sister, my white brothers. In the fight, we just come outside, come and shoot our people. That's why I'm here now. I heard that they killed my brother, wife, and children. That's why they arrest me.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency executed 86 vehicles on Saturday in Abuja. This operation was confirmed by Femi Babafemi, the NDLEA's Director of Media and Advocacy, on Sunday. Babafemi said that the act was carried out at an abandoned fuel station in Kageni Kubwa area of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, for onward distribution to some 20 yard. He said that the day led to the seizure of not only the large illicit consignment, but also the trailer and the 6 vehicles. Babafemi said that a combined 1.398 kilogram of cocaine and a precursor substance used in preparing crack cocaine were recovered from them respectively. He added that no fewer than 20 wraps of cocaine weighing 330 grams were recovered from a cargo going to Australia at a logistics firm in Lagos. Babafemi said that NDLEA's officers of the Directorate of Operations and General Investigation (DOGE) intercepted the consignments. An evening fire has burnt some parts of the building of Practicing Primary School located inside St. Stephen Anglican Church, Umibelo, Kanambra State. Although there was no casualty recorded, it was gathered that the fire was caused as a result of bush burning, which occurred late on Saturday and affected some parts of the roofing materials of the school's classroom block. Some eyewitnesses around the vicinity told newsmen that the fire burned for several minutes until men of the State Fire Service arrived at the scene and stopped it from further escalation to other structures. When contacted, the head of the Media and Publicity Unit of the Anambra State Fire Service, Chukwudi Chiketa, confirmed the incident to newsmen on Sunday. Chiketa said a crew of firefighters and firefighting equipment were immediately deployed to the scene when it received the distress call, and the fire was fought and contained. He quoted that people should clear the bushes and grasses in or surrounding their homes, offices, shops, factories, business areas, schools and churches, among others. The Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Professor Kolawole Adebayo, has urged government to strengthen the agricultural extension system to enable Nigerian farmers maximize opportunities for increased food production. Professor Adebayo made this known at the first reunion anniversary of the 1986 set of the University of Ife School of Agriculture, now the Federal College of Agriculture, Akure, held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Correspondent John Felix completes the story.
Delivering a lecture titled Networking Through Alumni Association for Entrepreneurial Opportunities and Development, Professor Adebayo decried the neglect of real farmers, stressing the need for targeted interventions. He however called on government to deploy agricultural extension officers directly to farms rather than relying on bureaucratic processes.
In 2025, Nigeria has a unique opportunity. There are products and commodities that we have what is called comparative advantage, that no other country in the world can surpass us if we focus. For instance, cassava is one of them. We have a lot of grains, rice, sorghum, millet, maize, that nobody can compete with us. Cowpea is one commodity that we are also the largest producer in the world. Yam is another commodity. But we have not properly supported our farmers. We have actually, as a country, taken our farmers, the real farmers, we have taken them for granted. Even when there are opportunities from government, it is the not so real farmers that will benefit, because in reality, real farmers don't run after largesse. They are too busy on their farm to be running after and come today, come tomorrow, fill this form, fill that form. If you really have something for a real farmer, you send your
levels. It's different from buying and selling. It's different from trying to establish somebody on how to sell provision. No. If you want a young man or an investor to do agriculture, there are specific support you must be given all over the world. Agriculture must be supported. It's just that the kind of support you are giving in country A, but we don't want to be based on their circumstances.
Other host students tasked government to do more in the areas of educational development in the country.
Education is a pillar that we have to uphold, you know, which part of the country you come from. We have brain drain, as they call it, with all our doctors, all our engineers leaving to go to America, you know, Canada, England, but a train are here to help the country.
The first thing that came to mind is some sense of gratitude that each and every one of us were fresh out of secondary school in 1984, and those are the first set of friends that you can call friends that we actually made. So, and there is a lacuna between then and now reconnecting about 2017. That was when we created the platform, and 5 years after, we are able to make a reunion happen today. So seeing them in flesh and blood today filled me with great happiness.
With over 40 years experience in agricultural service and agribusiness, these old students no doubt have roles to play in moving the nation's agri sector forward. From Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television News.
Now it's time to the reminder of news that made headlines during the week. Tracking the Week is up next.
Hello and welcome to Tracking the Week. On Monday, the Federal High Court in Abuja granted bail to Olamide Thomas, an activist accused of threatening Sheikh Tinubu, the son of Nigeria's president, and Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun via social media. Justice Emeka Nwite, in his ruling on Monday, approved a 10 million naira bail for Thomas, with one surety in the same sum. In his ruling, Justice Nwite noted that there was no substantial evidence from the prosecution to suggest that Thomas would attempt to flee or interfere with her trial. He stated and the complainant, it was in the interest of justice to grant bail under the conditions set. The judge required the surety to provide an affidavit of means and present a tax clearance certificate from the past 3 years. Additionally, the surety must reside within the court's jurisdiction and verify their address. Both Thomas and her surety must deposit 2 recent passport photographs with the court registrar. The case had been adjourned to February 18 for trial. Still on Monday, Joint Admission and Matriculation Board has remitted over 6 billion naira to the federal government coffers as part of its operating surplus after conduct of the 2024 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination. The board also revealed that it has so far contributed over 50 billion naira as an operating surplus to the National Treasury over the past 7 years under the watch of Professor Ishaq Oloyede as Registrar and Chief Executive Officer. This is contained in a bulletin of the board made available to newsmen in Abuja. Dr. Fabian Benjamin rewards of the various innovations the board has implemented. He noted that one area where the board has demonstrated commendable courage over the years is in enhancing accountability, transparency and openness in its financial practices. He stressed that since 2017, the board had consistently provided weekly income and expenditure report for public scrutiny, saying while looking ahead to 2025, the board reaffirmed its commitment to maintaining accountability, transparency and openness in all financial dealings. It revealed that in 2024, the board generated a total income of 22 billion naira, saying from this amount it expended over 18 billion naira towards conducting examinations, paid service providers and covering it. In 2024, the bulletin says the board remitted 6 billion naira to the government, noting that when combined with the 1,500 naira reduction per form per candidate, multiplied by the number of candidates that benefited in 2024, the total remittance by JAMB would amount to 9 billion naira. On Tuesday, President Bola Tinubu congratulated John Mahama on his swearing-in as Ghana's president, saying Nigeria will support the West African country. Mahama was inaugurated on Tuesday in Accra, marking his return to office years after 7 years where he served as Ghana's president. Tinubu, who was among world leaders at the event, noted his friendship between him and Mahama, pledging Nigeria's backing for Ghana. President Tinubu, who was a special guest at the inauguration, said he shared a deep friendship with John Mahama, a reason he's around to work with him. Mahama, who was president of Ghana between 2012 and early 2017, stormed back to power after he defeated Mahamudu Bawumia of the then-ruling New Patriotic Party. He polled over 50% of the vote cast. The president said Mahama's return to power lays to bed the question of whether Ghana and Africa are capable of democratic and productive endeavors. According to him, Ghana has answered that question resoundingly, and others have made, by continuing to ask the countries to prove themselves. Still on Tuesday, the Senate Committee on Appropriations has proposed January 31st as the target date for the National Assembly to submit and potentially pass the 49.7 trillion naira 2025 budget. The committee declared all agencies of government to defend their estimate before the National Assembly. It has also fixed Thursday to hold an open day on the budget consideration, which will ignore input from various stakeholders and civil society organizations. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Adeola Olamileko, stated this during a meeting with chairmen of all standing committees in the Senate to discuss the procedures for budget consideration. Acknowledging the short time frame, Olamileko assured that the Senate would work diligently to meet the January 31st deadline, striving to ensure the budget meets the aspiration of the Nigerian people. On Wednesday, the National Assembly expressed serious concern over the huge discrepancies in the size of the recurrent expenditure relative to capital expenditure and the low level of fund releases for capital projects for ministries, departments and agencies in the 2024 budget that is ongoing. In the joint sitting of the chairman of the Senate and House Committees on Appropriation and the Presidential Economic Team on consideration of the 2025 Appropriation Bill, Senator Solomon Adeola and Honorable Abubakar Bichi, chairmen of Senate and House Committees, respectively agreed that the Economic Team should take urgent steps to release more funds for capital projects, as this is a major way for the people to feel the impact of government. Correspondent Kulujo reports that the position of the National Assembly followed the report of the Economic Team led by Wale Edun, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of Economy, recurrent expenditure achieving 100%, while the capital budget only managed 25% performance. Senator Adiola said he is an advocate for drastic reduction on the ratio of recurrent expenditure to capital in the budget from the present level of about 80% for recurrent and 20% for capital to at least 60% to 40%, stressing that capital projects in the budget and their implementation is a major spur for economic growth and direct impact on the people. Still on Wednesday, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently in detention, rejected the federal government's request to resume his trial. This stance was revealed by Kanu's lead counsel, Aloy Ejimakor, in a post shared should recuse herself from the case, citing an earlier order from September 24, 2024, which they argue remains valid. According to Ejimakor, the decision for Justice Nyako to step aside was never overturned by any court and is still binding. He maintained that Justice Nyako recusal order entered on September 24, 2024 remains in effect and has not been nullified by any competent court. The lawyer further accused the prosecution of attempting to mislead the court, asserting that Kanu has no case before Justice Nyako anymore. According to Ejimakor, as of September 24, 2024, the defendant no longer has any case to answer before Justice Binta Nyako. Nnamdi Kanu facing 7 charges of alleged treasonable felony on October 14, 2015 after returning to Nigeria from the UK. He was later granted bail. On Thursday, the economic team of the Tinubu's led administration met with the Senate Committee on Appropriation for the review of the 2024 budget and outlook for the 2025 appropriation. The economic team, which was led by the Minister of Finance and the coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, has in attendance the Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, DG Budget, Accountant General of the Federation, among others. The Chairman, Senate Committee on Appropriation, Olamilekan Adeola, in his opening remarks said the session was organized to brainstorm with the team on the performance of the 2024 budget and to have an outlook of the 2025 economic policies, saying it has restored the dwindling hope of most Nigerians. Speaking on the country's economic outlook, the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun, attributed the feats achieved in the economic sector to the support of the National Assembly, just as he highlighted some of the achievements recorded so far. Also, the Minister of Budget and Economic 2024 budget, an overview of 2015 budget presently before the National Assembly. Still on Thursday, issues confronting Nigeria's telecom sector may be near an end as the federal government said it has received an interim report on the sustainability of the telecoms industry, especially on the improved connectivity. It was announced by the Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, the chairman of the Association of Licensed Telecom Operators of Nigeria, Benga Adebayo, equally confirms that the industry was working on a sustainability report. Indeed, the sustainability report is expected to make recommendations on the raging issue of tariff review being clamored by the telecom operators, which claim that the industry's sustainability faces a severe threat with the current tariff regime. Accepting the interim report, Tijani said the government would strive to strike a balance between the sustainability of the telecom sector and the availability of connectivity for Nigerians. The minister had said that the government was looking at a medium to long-term solution in response to the request for a tariff increase by the telecom operators. According to him, the study by KPMG was to identify issues around the sustainability of the telecom sector and what the government would need to do to support the industry. On Friday, former President Olusegun Obasanjo disclosed that his attitude of not keeping quiet on national and international issues led him to jail under the military junta of the late head of state, General Sani Abacha, in 1995. Obasanjo also hinted that the quest to save Nigeria from an imminent disintegration made him to seek the presidency in 1999. Admitting that he had settled into agriculture after his military service at age 42 before the quest came. Speaking during an interactive session with 15 young male and female future Africa leaders drawn from different parts of the continent at his Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Obasanjo taxed the youth on positive leadership roles for the continent. In a statement by his special assistant on media, Kainde Akinyemi, the former president spoke when the budding youth under the aegis of Future Africa Leaders Foundation came with the 10 winners of the prestigious and life-changing Future Africa Leaders Awards. He said his prison experience was part of inability to always keep mute. Still on Friday, the Minister of Works, Engineer Nweze David Umahi, directed the contractor handling some part of the East-West Road project to deploy more resources to hasten the pace of work or face rescoping. The minister stated this while inspecting the progress of work on the project, just as he reminded the contractor that he has up to the end of April to complete a section of the carriageway, or the contract will be rescoped and re-awarded. Engineer Umahi, who began the inspection of the project, was also at the Enugu-Port Harcourt Dual Carriageway Section 3, where he also applauded the contractor on the quality of work, while restating the directive of President Bola Tinubu on the need for speedy completion of both the new and the inherited project. He said the ministry under him has decided to make public those who are delaying.
Now we move to the international desk for more news.
Hello and welcome to the foreign news. At least 16 people have died as wildfires rage in Los Angeles, and there are fears the number will rise. Officials say metal identification may not be possible. Officials have warned against looting and hotel price hikes. At least 20 people have been arrested for looting evacuated homes in Los Angeles, including 2 people who posed as firefighters. A Los Angeles police captain says looting is an issue. The number of arrests is continuing in the Palisades yesterday evening. It was reported that some LA residents are hiring private security to help protect their home from looters. Shane Ben, founder of the security company, tells the network his company is providing round-the-clock security in some neighborhoods. People across Los Angeles have lost their homes, businesses and personal items, and many have already started trying to rebuild what they have lost. Basic items like laundry detergent and rubber gloves are in short supply, with some in Pasadena, where the Eaton fire continues to burn. Asking for donations with handmade signs on the roadside nearby at Santa Anita Park in Arcadia, displaced residents stroll through mountains of donations looking for blankets, shoes, clothing and toilet paper. Jack Smith, the special counsel who lead 2 federal criminal cases against Donald Trump, has resigned from the Justice Department before the president-elect takes office later this month. According to the court filing submitted on Saturday, Smith separated from the department on Friday. Smith's departure comes amid a dispute over the release of his report into the findings of Trump's classified documents case. Smith was appointed as special counsel in 2022 to oversee 2 Justice Department cases into Trump, one over the alleged improper hoarding of classified documents and the other over an alleged attempt to interfere in the 2020 election outcome. Both cases resulted in criminal charges against Trump. Regulations forbid the prosecution of a sitting president. Smith's resignation was expected as it would allow him to leave his post without being fired by Trump or the incoming president attorney general. His exit means he leaves without either of his criminal prosecutions of Trump staying trial. Earlier this week, U.S. District Judge Alan Callon, who oversaw the classified documents case and controversially dismissed it last Tuesday, temporarily barred Smith and Attorney General Merrick Garland from releasing, sharing or transmitting a report about the case. Trump's legal team received a draft copy of the report last weekend and it was expected to be released as soon as possible. The move by Judge Cannon came after attorneys for Trump's former co-defendants in the case, Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, called on her to intervene. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called on allies on Sunday to honor all promises to supply Ukraine with weapons including those to counter Russian attacks. Zelensky said that over the past week, Russian forces had launched hundreds of strikes in Ukraine and nearly 700 aerial bombs and over 600 attack drones were used. Ukrainian air defenses downed 60 out of 94 drones launched by Russia overnight, the Air Force said on Sunday. It said that 34 drones were lost in reference to Ukraine's use of electronic warfare to redirect Russian drones. Every week, the Russian war continues only because the Russian army retains its ability to terrorize Ukraine and exploit its superiority in the sky, Zelensky said on Telegram messaging app. He called on Ukraine's allies to fulfill agreements already made. The decisions made at the NATO summit in Washington, as well as those adopted during the Ramstein meetings regarding air defenses for Ukraine, have still not been fully implemented, Zelensky said. Ukraine leader this week said he had discussed with partners and the United States the possibility of granting Ukraine licenses to produce air defense systems and missiles. Still on foreign news, the European foreign minister have agreed to meet at the end of January to discuss lifting sanctions on Syria as foreign ministers and top diplomats from Western countries and the Middle East convened in Saudi Arabia in the first such regional meeting since the fall of President Bashar al-Assad last month. Kaja Kallas, the European Union's foreign policy chief, said on Sunday that the foreign ministers would convene in Brussels on January 27 to probe how the 27-member bloc might approach the issue. In Riyadh, she told reporters that the EU wants to see an inclusive government in Syria which shows no sign of radicalization and also respect the rights of women and other groups. The bloc talks concluded in Riyadh. Saudi Arabia's foreign minister called for the lifting of sanctions on Syria. Syria's new foreign minister Assad Hassan al-Shaibani, who has repeatedly called for the removal of decades-old sanctions, attended the talks alongside foreign ministers from the region, including Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon and Turkey. Chad's governing party has taken the majority of seats in last month's parliamentary election that was mostly boycotted by opposition parties, according to provisional results. President Mahamat Idris Debby's party, the Patriotic Salvation Movement, secured 124 of the 188 seats at the National Assembly. Ahmed Bachiret, head of the Electoral Commission, announced late on Saturday the participation rate was put at 51.56%, which opposition parties said showed voter doubt about the validity of the contest. The December 29 election was presented by Debby's party as the last stage of the country's transition to democracy after he took power as a military ruler in 2021. The takeover followed the death of Debby's father and longtime President Idris Deby Itno, who spent 3 decades in power. Mahamat Deby eventually won last year's disputed presidential vote. The votes, which also included municipal and regional elections, was Chad's first in more than a decade. Deby had said the election would pave the way for the era of decentralization, so long awaited and desired by the Chadian people, referring to the distribution of power beyond the national government to the various provincial and municipal levels. The election was boycotted by more than 10 opposition parties, including the main Transformers Party, whose candidate, Success Masra, came second in the presidential election. And finally, on foreign news, Croatians are voting in a presidential runoff election, with incumbent Zoran Milanovic expected to win a second term in office in what would be a blow to the ruling Croatian Democratic Union Party, which backs his rival. Polling stations open on Sunday at 7 a.m. local time and would close at about